Serious, how did you get your crap together? Cut out unnecessary and toxic relationships. Focus on the people who matter and who make you want to be a better person, especially in dating. Be honest with yourself about what you really want and go after it. The rest will follow. Frick, I know this is for me. I was really defeated around age 30 after a failed marriage, and some questionable life choices left me feeling like I had entirely wasted a decade. I started changing things. I started working on art again, even though I didn't have much free time. I started making my bed every morning. I downloaded educational apps to my phone to give me something constructive to do with downtime. I learned how to build a new habit out of anything and have made significant progress toward my life goals, now 40ish. It may sound obvious, but most look for a clear solution to their problem to reveal itself before they act. Don't wait. Find something you can change and do it now. Stop procrastinating laundry day. Do 5 minutes of exercise every day. Listen to a motivational podcast instead of music. Drive a different route to work. There is something simple and relatively painless you can change in your life right now that will shift your perspective, and once that becomes a habit, you move on to the next thing. Before you know it, the big changes don't seem nearly as daunting. TLDR. Small changes, big results. As they say, make a decision. Any decision. If you are right, you are right. If you are wrong, you learn something. If you make no decision, you just fail with nothing to show for it. I took a hard look at myself and began to improve the things I didn't like about myself, the things that made me insecure, the things I do not want to take responsibility for, and the things that I ignored and I was supposed to know. Starting with health and nutrition. I was not eating right because I was not responsible for my diet. So I went and I looked for advice with a nutritionist. I also began to work out just to find out that I really like to exercise. The second thing was finances. I didn't know crap about it. Making budgets and recording expenses made me realize where my money was going. Also, I started to learn about investments and personal finances. Social interactions always made me uncomfortable, so getting better at it was my priority. I learned about empathy and to listen and accept other people. It really helped me to fix family relationships and make new ones. The real lesson is that I was insecure because I was stubborn about the things that I liked and I took for granted. And those feelings gave me a false confidence about how the world worked. So anything different just scared the crap out of me. I'm still learning, knowing now that this is a lifetime enterprise. Understanding that the little things matter. Not skipping that one assignment. Not taking that shot. Saving that extra 1% of my paycheck. Doing that one nice thing for my wife without her asking. Once I saw how little effort it took to rise above, it made it a lot easier to tackle. My ex used to say something similar: just take care of the small things and the big things will take care of themselves. Look at your stuff. Find the stuff you don't use and are always tripping over, and fricking donate it. I got rid of probably 50% of my stuff and am much happier. Helps me take care of what I have left too. Get bins for beneath your bed. This is how I discovered the wonders of online flea markets. You get rid of crap with a tiny bonus, and can get useful stuff pretty cheap. After my divorce 3 years ago, she was an abusive, alcoholic, prescription drug abuser, and we tried to work it out for years. Finally I had enough. I decided to travel and get a new start. Well, it didn't go so well. Car broke down, lost my job, my house, wound up staying with friends for a while. It seemed like I couldn't get a job for longer than a month or two, despite a stable work history. I kept at it, job after job, socking away any money I could. 3 months ago, I took a job at a trampoline park. It's a blast and I love the kids and just watching people have fun. It's such a good environment. I got a cheap beta truck. I met a great girl. I got an apartment in a good part of town. I'm now the assistant manager of the park and things are going great. TLDR, I kept trying. No matter how much it seemed like it wouldn't work, I kept trying. It pays off. Eventually, I promise. I realized that unless I applied myself, all of the potential I thought I have would mean absolutely nothing. I never learned how to really try until I was in my late 20s. I got pregnant at 17, just after I barely graduated high school. Prior to that I knew I wasn't going to go to college and so I was partying a lot. I stopped drugs etc cold turkey when I got the positive pregnancy test. Did a bunch of research on what it's like to be a teen mom. Decided I didn't want that to be her life or my life. Enrolled in college that next fall when my kid was 6 months old. She's 6 now and I am getting an MA in May. Congrats. There are a few people in my MA program with kids, and I don't know how they do it. So congratulations. You're being a great example for your kid. My answer is subjective, but I'm hoping it will help someone seeking help. I was 22, somewhere in my junior year of college, procrastinating, depressed, dropping class after class, and just not able to get anything together. I'd start an assignment, get distracted, and 5 hours would pass before I realized I'd been distracted but it was too late, because now I had to sleep. Assignments were due, and I'd completely forgot about them. I used to be able to make up for my issues in high school by doing everything last second and in impractical ways, but that crap didn't fly anymore. Bills would be due, but I forgot about them too. I'd hop from job to job because I'd lose track of time and always be late, which would make people hate me, which would make me more anxious until I'd just not come back. I'd spend days in bed, so many things needed to get done but wouldn't. I didn't know what would happen with the time. One second I'd have weeks to do something, the next, minutes. It led to so much anxiety, depression over failures and wasted time, and more procrastination. It was a vicious cycle. I'd had enough. I couldn't go on anymore. If I didn't fix my crap I'd end up sinking more and killing myself. I didn't want to continue life like that, and I didn't want to die without at least trying something, anything first. I went to a psychiatrist. Bam, ADHD and manic depression. I spiraled a little bit. Things like this had been going on for years and I had no idea about any of it. I thought I was just lazy or stupid. I got medicated and the rushing, horrifying thoughts just slowly vanished. My outlook on life is so much more positive. I get up every morning and can move and go out and do errands without it being a massive drag. And I can finally breathe. My advice isn't to run out and get a diagnosis, but to take steps into improving yourself. Frick, reaching out to others is the greatest first step imho. You can find so many variable answers and methods of support. I think posting this thread was your step. Look at the people you are surrounded by and ask yourself, are these folks adding value to my life? The company you keep will define you, which can be positive, negative, or keep you stagnant in a puddle of blah. It's incredibly hokey, but you are the director. You get to pick your cast. I once heard an analogy about friends. Friends can be defined by the principles of flight. Some give you lift, some drag you down, and some thrust you forward. Try to cut out the drag. Gravity weight was left out. I'll just assume that's life in general, lol. I stopped doing what other people told me to do and pursued what I wanted. It's a lot easier to get things done when your butt is on fire and you understand the reasons for everything you're doing. You can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. Jim Carrey. Do not procrastinate. Do the little things that will take less than 5 minutes at the snap of your fingers. I am a really bad procrastinator. My room is always in a mess and I never did my washing. After I discovered this rule, it made my life way easier. The flip side of this is to procrastinate constructively. If you have something you really should be working on, but you can't get your head in the right place for it, go do something else that also needs to be done, even if it's lower priority. This yields much better results than going to Facebook or playing solitaire when you're not focusing well. I stopped thinking about how I was going to do it and just did it. We generate fears while we sit. We overcome them by action. Fear is nature's way of warning us to get busy. Dr. Henry Link. I used to find myself doing too much planning and not enough doing. Now I plan and follow up with the act before I have time to change my mind. Then, once you start putting things into motion, it becomes easier and easier because you have the momentum. I had a moment of clarity a few months back. It happened when I decided to take a look at where I was in my life and the people around me. I figured I didn't like it. I'm 25, I work at grocery store as an overnight stocker in the frozen department. I don't like the cold. I haven't been to college or even thought on what I wanted to do. I would wake up, go to work, get off, and always get high smoking weed. I postponed everything I needed to do, from walking my dog to paying bills and even cooking. The nail in the head was looking at my co-worker who was like me and realized that he had done the same job for 13 years and was content with his life. I was not. I don't smoke anymore. I'm enrolling in college, and I want to get as far away from this life as I can. Funny how bad examples can turn out to be good ones. Getting on the right medication for bipolar was absolutely necessary. So, if you have mental illness, do everything in your power to get that under control. Because of that, I can function relatively normally, and I'll say, stop procrastinating. Don't even procrastinate tiny things. Just finished your coffee? Take that mug to the sink right now. Taking off your shoes after a long, hard day on your feet? Put them in their proper place right now. Need to update your resume and apply for a new job? Do it right the frick now. Procrastinating everything in my life, ever, was seriously messing me up. A close second would be to get enough sleep. The proper amount of sleep helps with literally every single aspect of your life. Physical health, mental health, hygiene, performance in all aspects, concentration. The list just goes on and on. I know far too many people who could get the sleep they need, but don't, and then wonder why everything sucks. Disclaimer: my crap is in no way together, but the past couple years I have made great headway towards sweeping it into the beginnings of a pile. TLDR. The big thing was after school realizing that life was no longer structured to escort me through a natural progression of newer and better things the way school does. For me, the moment it clicked was when I really saw how easily entire years of my life could slip by. I got a job, did great, loved it. I felt like I could work that job the rest of my life. But I hit the end of its natural progression. Pay capped and promotion capped without going into another part of the business. This was a great job, but never my ideal career, and for years I'd gotten content and complacent because it was so nice. But having the end of it in my sight really brought home what rest of your life actually means. It finally clicked in my mind that this was about more than just enjoying my work life, but literally the rest of my life. I could die, and this would have been all I'd done. And that terrified me. I'd had a thing I'd held in my head I wanted to do for years, but effectively did nothing towards because I was so content. Far scarier than learning, trying, and failing was the prospect of literally dying having never gotten a shot. One big thing too though is you can't go too hard on yourself. You need to raise your expectations, but also forgive all the stupid crap you inevitably do. Otherwise you just beat yourself up and deter yourself from trying. If you're looking advice on something more specific, I can try to elaborate here or in PM or whatever. It's something that's been constantly on my mind. I've learned a lot more about how to motivate myself and manage my time since, even though it's still a freaking mess, driven mostly by extensions of the same logic, a desperation to get done the things I want to get done. I had to come home from college, was at the time suffering from clinical depression as well as some other health issues. Didn't go to class, missed most of my homework, etc. Immediately after I got home I started therapy for depression. Once I was in a stable state, most of the other things in my life seemed much easier. Today I am back in school with above a 3.0 average, on track to graduate with my friends because I worked my butt off during summer school. Overall, I think it was a combination of accurately identifying the problems, having an excellent support network back home, and being able to take the time I needed to get better. I hate to say it, because it's probably not the answer you're looking for, but I kind of just woke up one morning as a future-oriented person. I realized that there was no way I was going to ever be an adult if I wouldn't pass a credit check. I'd never own a house. I'd never be finished paying off old debt. I'd never be independent or be able to see myself as all grown up if I continued to live as if I had no financial responsibilities. I actually went to my bank with a history of bad checks and overdraft fees to sit down with a credit counselor to take a look at my horrible history. I wanted to know how to fix it and start to dig myself out of the hole that I had created. That was about 6 years ago. My credit score was somewhere around 530. We now have excellent credit and we recently refinanced our first home to an even lower rate. We carry no credit card debt, and are firmly in control of our finances. In short, it took a lot of honesty and a lot of work in order to get my crap together. That, and having a wife with goals that align with mine and the patience to work through all of this crap with me. By joining the Marine Corps at 17 and I just kind of realized I needed to get my crap together. I was raised a very sheltered and spoiled child, and in turn I became more and more rotten and selfish as life continued. Being Asian and being the only son meant that sooner or later I'd have to take up the responsibility of continuing the family name, and as the only son, I was only descending further into no return. But I realized in one very tiny moment when I was alone that I needed to stop being a brat and go out and explore the world and discipline myself and throw responsibility onto myself so that I could handle the pressure of making my parents proud and keep their. So when I graduated from high school at the tender age of 17, I left for boot camp. Many would say that I could have done something else or that the military doesn't actually do much for you, but in my case, it opened my eyes and did me well. It was my own decision, not anyone else's, and I'm proud of what I am today. There has been much happiness and sadness between then and now, but I find that I'm much happier now than before. I still only understand part of what it's like to be an adult, but I'm sure that I'm headed in the right direction. I'm much less prone to anger and I do my part to help people whenever I can. I'm only 19. But I feel that even though new crap comes up whenever I feel I have it together, I can keep on going. I have been slowly stealing minor traits and mannerisms from friends and to get myself to feel more generally relatable and likable without feeling like having sacrificed my own identity. I notice things that people valued in myself, like eye contact, and others, and equipped those things to learn charm and became comfortable in my own skin. Charm may not be very effective in Pokemon, but in my experience it has opened doors for me I would have never considered. I was a huge nerd with no filter. I simply developed a filter and learned to let my nerd flag fly when appropriate. Now I have a job that requires a degree I don't have, in the process of getting it. A woman out of my league lying in my bed that agreed to marry me, and I'm finishing paperwork on renting until job security, a bigger house for us, build a family. After job security is acquired, a lot of my newfound confidence started with organization. I started scheduling things in my Google Calendar so I always knew what was when. Once that happened, I would get invited to things more and be excited at the prospect of a new meeting regardless of the level of excitement for the event. I became reliable in the eyes of my friends, and when I look at my calendar I get a feeling of accomplishment by seeing a busy month that has passed or excited to take on a busy month to come. I feel prepared for it because I know to expect it. Even when something comes up suddenly during a busy month, it is simply one more appointment to make. Once my scheduling became habit, I addressed my budget using our personnel finance and took charge of my credit score with Credit Karma. After taking those things on, I developed the research abilities and positive momentum to feel prepared to take on most things life can throw at me. To be honest, I was unemployed for 6 months and ran out of money. My credit went from 780 to 530. I started off with a part-time job to catch up on my bills. Once I was caught up and saving, I got 2 jobs. Now I have money I DK what to do with except make my savings grow in digits. Eventually I'm going to go back to 1 job, but I want a house first. Honestly, waking up earlier and going to the gym. I started going about 2 weeks ago to the 7 AM class and find myself so much more motivated when I get home. I'm up at 6:30 AM and I don't work until noon. Normally, I would have woken up at 10 AM, but in that time gap between ending my workout and going to work, I get so much done since I'm motivated having come home from a good workout and there's not much to distract me at 8 AM. Plus, I'm getting so much more in shape. My eating habits have completely shifted too. I include more fruits and veggies since processed junk food doesn't sound appealing that early in the day. It's been an awesome improvement in my life overall. I wish I had done this a few years ago when I was in college. I came to realize 2 things. Being inherently lazy myself. 1. It takes more work to dodge my responsibility than to just put some effort into solving my problems. 2. Motivation is a lie. You don't motivate yourself to do work. First you do the work and then you become motivated by the results, which leads to further motivation. Push yourself to do the work you need to do through pure willpower. Your mind will fight you, the excuses will begin to pile on immediately, but you must keep going forward. I promise you the end result is always worth it. Don't die without at least trying, just once at least. I went from being a 1.8 GPA high school student to now at age 30 making $110,000 a year as a firefighter. I have 2 college degrees. Realizing the fact that the end goal doesn't matter. Getting my crap together is not something you do overnight. We can only see that we have gotten our crap together after it has already happened. But also realize, when we have reached a point where we can say we have our crap together, then what? There is more to go and more to do. You'll have to keep pushing yourself or your life will plateau. A question to ask then is, why do we need to push ourselves? That's a philosophical question you'll have to answer for yourself. What do you want to get out of life? Make sure when you find your answer to that question, it's something that is sustainable. Meaning, it is something that will push you no matter how well or how bad you are doing. Make sure your mission in life can motivate you when you hit rock bottom as well as when you have it all. That way, you will always have something adding meaningful experiences in your life. Another question to ask is, what if you are okay with letting your life plateau at a certain point? You won't be. Look at your position now. I'm sure at one point, you are not as unmotivated as you are now. This feeling may come back again if you let yourself settle once you've found a comfort spot. The act of settling is just a word that summarizes giving up motivation to do things. To summarize TLDR, don't limit yourself to just getting your crap together. Change your lifestyle so that you are constantly dealing with crap and make yourself constantly piling up your crap. How do you find crap to deal with? By finding out what you want to get out of your life. When you have a huge pile of crap, don't settle. Keep piling up new shoots. This is going to sound retarded, but bear with me. I was devastated when Trump won. It just didn't seem possible. It felt supremely stupid. Then I realized I've been delusional my entire life. I've been really lucky. Things, though never perfect, always worked out to some level. I frick around in high school and still got into uni. I never really tried at anything and still got an okay job. I had a girlfriend but I never gave it much thought and she left me, but I just chalked it up to things not working out. I never accepted responsibility for anything in my life. I never really tried my best. If something goes wrong I quote some statistic and I settle. Trump winning made me honestly accept that there's no grand logical plan. I am not suddenly going to be an adult if I don't make the effort. So I took responsibility for everything. Am not happy about my pay? Look for a new job. Not happy about my body? Work out. Diet. Cut back on late night gaming and alcohol. Sick of feeling sorry for myself? Took my appearance more seriously and make an effort to get to know new people. In 3 months since November I have gotten into a relationship, lost 9 kilograms and gotten in shape. Got a new well-paying job in with good career opportunity. Fixed my sleeping pattern. All because of some dude got elected in a country halfway around the world. In a country halfway around the world. That makes it even more ridiculous. I believe I will always be in the process of getting my crap together, but I've recently, in the past year, taken great strides I feel, so I guess it wouldn't hurt to give my 2 cents. In August, I accepted a position to teach English in Japan for a year at a high school. I had just lost my job which I was barely scraping by on and felt the need to get experience to help my career, so why not? Since I've moved here, I feel that I've grown. A lot. I stepped about as far out of my comfort zone as I could. Out of my hometown. Out of the US. Out of my career field. Away from everyone I knew and loved. And even out of my own language. It's been really difficult to do simple everyday things. Bills, laundry, shopping. Mostly because I don't speak Japanese well, but also because I work a lot. I've been having to work a Japanese work schedule, and so, the small amount of time I do have, I'm rather lost and really lonely. But, I've realized that it's worth it. I've learned about myself throughout everything. What things annoy me compared to others, the value of people and true friends, and how to get by when you have no freaking clue what you're doing. I've taken initiative to learn more about Japan and the Japanese people and how to get by on my own. It's difficult just to talk to people, either because of language barrier or fear of foreigners. and it's made me really value any kind of communication with people, whether meeting for coffee or through Skype. Even my own mother recently mentioned to me, through a Skype call, that I seem different and have grown more responsible. That's not to say that it gets easier though. God, there are many days where it's hard or I'm so lonely that I want to break down and cry. Sometimes I do, and that's okay. Things don't necessarily get easier. You just learn how to adjust and adapt to it. Looking forward, I'm hoping this experience will help me to become a better employee, a better friend, and a better person in general. It's definitely given me a lot to think about though. I know that was rather long, so I'll try to give a TLDR. In my relatively young experience, I've found that sometimes you have to step far out of your comfort zone to learn what you really want, what really matters to you. Everyone has a different kind of happy. Use that insight you've gained to pursue your own kind of happy. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.